Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. We are into February now, and so I am switching decks. So last month I was working with the Weaver's Oracle, and I'm not completely finished with it, so I will continue to dabble with it. I think it might remain kind of what I would call my bed tarot, the tarot that is there readily available for the pre-sleep hours, or actually I can't say that, pre-sleep 30 minutes or an hour when I might be matching weavers with Italian folk tales or lines of poetry or whatever, so that might continue to be that project. But I am now switching to the Greenwood tarot. I have to tell you, so I kept thinking, because I have an awful memory, and so I was thinking that it was my February was the Forest of Enchantment, and I was thinking I'm so looking forward to something that's a little less complicated. To me, this deck is not less complicated, but so I even pulled it out and I thought, you know what, I'm just not 100% sure that this was going to be my next deck. And so I went and I looked at my list, and no, it's the Greenwood. And, part of me was like, well, should I flip them? And I thought, no, just do the Greenwood. And in part because another thing that came up just this very morning was I watched is it DeeVination? Is that your channel, D? I can't remember now, even though I look at it regularly. Yeah, so D over at her DeeVination channel. I'll put a link to it down below. She is the initiator in conjunction with, is it Willow Wand? Again, such a rotten memory. Anyway, they have gotten together to do a tag that is 29 spreads in 29 days. 29 spreads in 20. I thought, you know what, I could use that right now. Will I fail at it? Almost certainly, but it's still worth doing. It's worth giving it a shot, and I could stand to do it with the good old Greenwood. So that made sense to me. So I'm shuffling the cards. My spread for the 29 spreads in 29 days is going to be one that I use for kind of a general outlook, which is what I call my Chinese elements or Chinese system of elements spread. It's 5 cards, but I was shuffling for it and this popped out. And I was thinking, well, should I take that as the first card I usually lay down for that? And as I was gazing at it and continuing to shuffle, I think, no, this is the Greenwood. This is the Greenwood Tarot speaking directly to me, saying this is the Greenwood right here. It's it's the bear's skeleton. And this is the journey that I have to go down with the Greenwood. So it's dramatization. It's melodrama, right? But yeah, I think that's what it is. This is my relationship to the Greenwood right here. It is, whoops, all of the reversals that happen when you're looking at in a thing. Okay, so this is like the Greenwood going rah, and it's like you have to pass the guardian. This is essentially your first scare is right here, and maybe even your worst scare. But you have to pass this little moment of initiation, the moment of, this is intended to break your determination. This is intended to break your determination to go on the journey. The journey itself might not be that big of a deal, but this is intended to break your determination. This is a rah. And then onwards you go. But but it also indicates to me as a card coming up for this that there is that this deck somehow is a journey for me, and I don't know why or what, um I have to say, is also as I was shuffling, I was thinking, I got this from Lark, my friend Lark, and she chose the um, cardstock. It's great cardstock. I mean, I just was really enjoying shuffling it, so thank you for that. But this is not a take me to tea deck for me. For other people, it's their everyday reading deck. It's their they can read about mundane stuff for it. For me, it's not. It's something else. By the time I get to the other end of this subterranean voyage with the Greenwood, um, maybe I will. Maybe, there it will be on more familiar terms and will function in that way. But I just get the feeling that it's for something in particular, and I'm not at all clear what that is. So that's why I'm sitting with the Greenwood. That's why I needed to have a month with the Greenwood, is to figure out what is this? What is this journey? So yeah. So I think that I just thought that was very funny. Again, very melodramatic, very melodramatic. Oh, and so as I was thinking that, and how different decks have different functions or seem to have different personalities, I was kind of wondering if maybe, how a certain deck's images interact with us. Again, it's going to be different for different people. How those images interact with us and what they call out in us, or that there may be different doorways for different people. Like I said, I know there are people who use this deck as an everyday deck, and it's not the way it's going to function for me. It's coming across as kind of like this, as a different kind of doorway, a different kind of connection, or as though it opens a conversation with energy that I don't normally have a conversation with, that maybe other decks I don't have this conversation with. And kind of the closest energy that I could think of right now would be like the past lives deck. But I'm not sure if that's what it has to do with or not. It could be, it could be something ancestral that I'm just not even used to. It's like I don't have the language to communicate, or I've never gone, I've never gone in this particular cave on that particular journey before. And so the communication ends up being kind of difficult. So let's get on with the spread. 5 cards system of Chinese system for me is the middle is the what is steady or repeating within the given period. So this is going to be a 5 card this Chinese system for the month of February. So my and I will try to remember to also put the spread in simple terms down below. It actually gets kind of complicated, but we'll do it in simple terms. So the Knight of Cups is coming up for this month, which is interesting. If you do traditionally, it could be that somebody will surprise me and there will be an offer of love. But what I see, to me, when I look at this, actually isn't what I look at this. When I pick this up and I think Knight of Cups, I think, it's matchmaking in terms of my matchmaking with, I'm I'm trying to match it with something that's true in my mundane life. I'm starting my dog obedience. So to me, I am kind of being a matchmaker with the people and their pets. Do they love their pets already? Yes. But I'm creating better communication in that regard. And that is something that's repeating. It's every Saturday and will be consistent, hopefully. Hopefully it will be, that's the intention. But if I just look at it, again, it gets kind of mundane. I get really focused on what appears to me to be a sunrise. It could be a sunset. I'm seeing it as a sunrise, and the fish is rising. And so again, it could be totally, well, no, because that's in March or April. I can't remember when the time changes. But it could just be me rising earlier in the morning. It could be me having a different relationship with water in terms of the drinking of water. In this picture, the salmon actually has something in its mouth, a nut of some kind or something like that. And I was thinking, does that have any significance? But at the moment, I'm not feeling like it does. So the second card I put on the top, so that was the middle card. The second card I put on the top, and we have the boogeyman. think of him as kind of the boogeyman. Guardian boogeyman, but still kind of a boogeyman in the woods, kind of an image to me. And that is the rising energy. So that is fire, represented by something that rises up rapidly and then diminishes just as rapidly. So it's something that kind of flares up during the time, during the month. So there may be some need to be a guardian. I might encounter somebody who is kind of a gatekeeper, who is blocking my path. But the good thing about it is that it's a passing. It's just like, you know, passing by the skeleton. It's a passing thing. You know, and that's good in terms of my own, you know, if I'm having to be the guardian, I don't want to have to do that. I would much rather have that in the fire position than down in the earth position. So the next one is going to be water, and that is below the middle card. And this is a sweet card. So this is kind of I think of it as the water table, even though this shows a waterfall. I'm kind of getting some, you know, I'm getting water in the water position, and I got wands in the fire position. It's not nearly that harmonious all the time. But you know, this is like your water table. It's not necessarily up on the ground, you know, in the conceptualization of the spread. The water position is underneath. It's actually, again, conceptually, the earth blocks the water. So it's underneath. So it's kind of what's underneath this. And it's, you know, so what it tells me is that I have this resource that maybe a lot of people can't see, aren't aware of, but, you know, I have a lovely wellspring here of happiness and family harmony and stuff like that. And I think that would be speaking to my nuclear family with my parents, and because I'm not married and don't have children, so it would be that sense of family. If I think of it as the Ten of Cups, and we do have a couple here. You know, I could see this starting, and we're not going to go into it right now, but I could see this again starting when I put these together. I can see this starting to refer to physical fluid functions in the body, or like I'm thinking lymph drainage, you know, and making sure that I do the little strokey things that you're supposed to do, which I haven't been doing, you know, on parts of your body to make sure that the lymph is flowing. And so yeah, my primary keyword for 2020 is detoxification. And I feel like this is kind of telling me, yeah, do it. Drink the water. Drink it, drink it, drink it. Let it go down through the body. Again, this is like underwater, or under the earth, under, you know, cleansing everything. That's coming across with the positions of things here. All right, so the next card I would put to the left of the center card, and that is the position of wood. And the position of wood is what is going to grow. Oh dear. It's my friend the Fool. So this is, again, like wood grows, the growth. It's this is my first major arcana here. Might be my only major arcana. It is the Fool. Do I love the Fool? Yes, I love the Fool, but am I interested in going down foolish paths? I certainly wasn't planning on any that I can think of in the month of February. But it's saying I'm going to be trying some wings of some kind, or I'm just going to have, maybe it's this. Maybe I won't necessarily take any risks during February, but maybe I'm preparing. You know, it's a growth of preparing for some risks. You know, I'm not going to jump off the cliff, but I might be constructing my butterfly wings, or packing my little bag, or goodness knows. Yeah. I do have to have some stuff done to my house, so it could be in preparation for something like that. But yeah. Again, not, no, just I love you, Fool. Not now, please. But here it is in February, and that's the thing that's growing. So there's, you know, it could be a growing urge to do something, to take some risk. I'm not aware of any risks I'm particularly wanting to take right now. So, and then the 2 of arrows I get for the last position, which I normally lay to the right of the center card. And that is the 2 of arrows. So this card is a little enigmatic to me, because you have the scales, like the scales of justice, and but they're out of balance. And what they seem to have in them is polar opposites. You've got dark here, and you've got light here. And the dark is heavier than the light. Light, of course, meaning light and weight. Also, I'm trying to look at the tips of the arrows. Don't look the same. Like one looks like it might actually have a point to it, and the other one looks like it's broken off. And the white thing on the head looks like a headband instead of a blindfold. And then down here, what you have is a broken bow. So, I mean, it can be a warning that something is out of balance and is going to lead to breakage. In other words, if your bow is breaking, it's probably because it wasn't particularly well made. And of course, if the bow is broken, that there's no point. I mean, if it's like the traditional Rider-Waite Smith, where it appears that she's trying to make a decision between one sword and another sword, and I think of it as the dilemma card, and they're equal. They're, you know, you can't make the decision because they're essentially the same thing, and you might be giving weight to something that you shouldn't even be giving weight to. In this case, it's like if the bow is broken, then she's trying to make a decision on something that doesn't even matter. You know, it doesn't matter what arrow you have, your bow is broken. So you're missing the point. You're missing the point. You know, you need to, it's like asking the tarot the wrong question. It's like, no, you need to step back and ask yourself whether a completely different question regarding the situation you're interested in. Or you might be fixated on a given situation where what you really need to be looking at is something completely different. So this is what's consolidating. So this position over on, again, that I normally put on the right of the center card, is the metal position. So our 5 elements are earth in the middle, fire above, water below, wood to the left, and metal to the right. And this is supposed to be consolidating, something that's becoming more rigid with time. And something that's becoming more fixed. And so I don't know if this is saying that, you know, it feels like a warning card, because, you know, then an imbalance apparently is becoming more fixed and more, I'm thinking kind of interwoven in the structure of my life somehow. And I don't know if this is something that I'm doing or if this is something that is becoming just truer in some aspect of my life. But yeah, the bow is broken. Yeah, so I'll have to think about that one. But to me, that's more of a warning because of the position that it's in than this. This is like, because it's in the fire position, this is a temporary obstacle or a kind of a dramatic obstacle that's going to show up. And could it block me from something, you know, a direction I want to go in? Yes, potentially. But it tells me, you know, the warning there is that something like this might show up, but make sure it's there the next day. You know, it's one of those things where when you talk to somebody about your bill, you know, a problem that you're having with a bill, and you call one day and you talk to somebody and they give you the runaround, or they can't talk to you, or they say there's nothing they can do, and then you call the next day and you get a different person and they help you. You know, it's, to me, in this position, in the fire position, that's what this sort of thing represents. But this, which I see as a negative card, or a card depicting a negative situation, in a position that's solidifying, contracting, becoming more fixed, that's a cause for concern. That's something that I need to take a look at and give some real attention to. And I would say it's almost the only thing that I feel here that I need to give a particular amount of attention to. Again, there is the aspect of that I was seeing in terms of my health and my bodily fluids. So I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to pick up my webcam and I'm just going to show this down here. Yes, I'm wearing my robe. So that's how, there's the metal card. So there they are. That's how that looks. And it's got me back. Okay. So that's my day one. And I'll be very curious in terms of so I can think of what I would do tomorrow. But this is 29 spreads. 29 spreads with this deck. So if anybody wants to make a suggestion, like for a topic, like tomorrow, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 9-card spread looking at relationship. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the month of February. And I've got the Knight of Cups here in the middle of this spread and some other readings on YouTube have, readers for Cancer, they do the Cancer things, have said something about somebody coming back. I would be really surprised. And so I could go ahead and do in my own situation that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do that 9 card and I'm just going to look at it and see if I can, what kind of messages or whatever. But I suspect, that has never struck me as the purpose of this deck. And so if anybody wants to suggest spreads I should try with the Greenwood, I'll probably dig out, because this has an ancestry feel to it, I'll probably look up some ancestor spreads. Yeah, there's always 365 tarot spreads. I might just end up resorting to going through the spreads in that book and just having, with 29, there's going to be some light days. There's definitely going to be some light days. But that if I'm doing 29 spreads, I'm doing 29 spreads. And so they can be totally random, different kinds of spreads. So go ahead and make any suggestions. Of course, I'll be watching some of the other people's 29 spreads in 29 days videos, and so I might get some suggestions through those. But if there's anybody out there who says you should try this particular spread with this particular deck, the Greenwood, please feel free to let me know down in the comments. And just if it's something that's on the web somewhere, just give me a link and I'll check it out. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.